Peace, 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 peace. It is your sister Rue with MaWu Lisa Temple, beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley. And I am so excited to be coming to you today. It is Monday, and you are joining us for the beginning of the fall studies program that we do on Mondays. Now, everybody knows that Monday has become Mental Health Monday. So this year, our focus while our general focus for the fall and winter studies is Unmasking Morality, the books that we'll be using vary. So the book that we'll be talking about tonight was chosen just for Mental Health Mondays. It is the classic Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery by Dr. Naim Akbar. I am so excited to be able to bring this book to you. If you don't follow our unread series, me and my brother Nick, we have it going for you every other Saturday. We bring you unread books and rereads, and Dr. Naim Akbar is definitely, if anything, on the reread all the time. That is how he made the curriculum this year for the theme of unmasking morality. Well, we had a great discussion on Thursday night, the 19th of September, 2024. We were joined by our good brother, Chris Mack, and he was talking about unmasking morality, just talking about what are morals. And it became a very deep conversation, and it kind of went everywhere. And this is the point, we have to have these tough conversations because we're dealing with a whole new generation. So for those of you who are watching and be like, oh, this is old, you know what? This is not for you then. And even if you think why don't you just stay for a little while? We might be taking a different approach that might help you take a deeper look into self. Because before we can talk about breaking the chains, we have to know what the chains are, right? So today, not today, but this weekend happened to be the International Day of Peace that the United Nations has claimed as a theme, if you will. Well, not a theme, but a celebration that they do every year. And, for the last about 6 years, MaWu Lisa Temple has taken a deep interest in the human rights movement and what they are doing with the youth, what is being taught to the youth in terms of human rights. At the UN, they always have these youth conferences and things like that. And so sometimes I wonder what youth are attending because we don't hear much about it. So we got involved and we were able to begin to directly see what youth are coming out and what youth are being unheard. So that's where we come in. Of course, we are here, in our communities where there are a lot of people that look like me. And we are talking about things that people just don't talk about in our community. And it's not because we don't care. A lot of times it's because we are so just bound by everything else that we don't have time to sit and think, But what we were handing out and what we hand out every year, and I hope you join us for the whole series on unmasking morality. It'll be every Monday night with special presentations in between for the fall and winter season ending in March when we go into the new year. But this is the book that we use. This is the book that we go by. Now, I tell people here, I'm not here to reinvent the wheel. And I'm not here to convince you or to coerce you or to change your mind or anything like that. All I'm asking you to do is take a look at that which is already there. You wonder why you are who you are and why you are like you are. There's a cute little thing going around to my, why am I like this? I'm asking you, why are you like that? Why am I like I am? That's kind of what got me on my journey was I wanted to know what made me me. And Brother Mac was bringing that to the table as one of the reasons why he wanted to be involved in this project because he also understands, where he is in the state of Texas. The youth are doing something different here. I'm in New York. But New Jersey, which is my hometown, stomping grounds, always go back, always reach back. Sankofa, always going back even further, to reach back to what our ancestors did, which was reaching back and uplifting our youth so they can lead us, and supporting our men so they can lead us and protect us, and supporting our women so they can continue to nurture us and love us and help us and bring us through in kindness. I say all that to say they give these books out to the youth, and inside are the human rights. Now, if you walked up to somebody and asked them what the human rights are, you'll be sadly disappointed, and you'll be sad and disappointed. Let me put it that way. You'll be sad and you'll be disappointed, because you'll think, oh, this person for sure knows. Who you think know don't know. People walking around here in a haze, they think they know something and they don't know anything. Wise man knows that, he knows nothing at all. But what I want to share tonight, because we are going to be talking about what we're doing in this week's studies, is I want to share just the introduction. I think my divine queen, mother, womb space, bringer of my life to this space where we are. I thank her for being an avid reader and promoting that with me and my siblings, which I then carried on with my children and my grandchildren, is a love for reading. And we read everything from the cover. We study cover art. We read little teeny tiny, fine print. My mother just had us that way. And I love it. I love it. It brings me such joy. And whoever has seen our book show, again, every other Saturday night on YouTube, MaWu Lisa, Liza 4610. If you watch our YouTube about books, I'm book geeked up. See, I'm getting excited now just talking about it. But when I get into Dr. Naim Akbar, you'll see why we're using his book for this particular part of the series of Unmasking Morality. But I just want to show you how in even the beginning of a book, you can find something that is vital to what you're studying, and and vital to what's going on right now. I tell people, you hear people say eat the meat and throw away the bones and all that good stuff like that. That's all these great little sayings are cute, and they're relevant and they're true for the most part, but it's like if you don't know where and how to apply it, it's just words. So let me read something to you here. Human rights, an introduction. Human rights are defined as the basic rights and freedoms to which all human beings are entitled, often held to include the right to life and liberty, freedom of thought and expression, and the equality before the law. That's the definition. So do you see why it's important where we about to go with this series for the fall and the winter? Breaking the chains. We want to know why we do what we do. Chains. Chains. Chains of slavery to things, to people, to ideas. Things that you have no idea. You don't even know some of the blockages and barriers you have to being your true self, because this has been going on for so long. During the fall, if you've followed MaWu Lisa Temple, you've been with us through a fall and winter season, you will know that we address a book called the Retire Your Family Karma. We use that book every year as a part of addressing our, getting deeper into our familial morals and virtues and principles and things like that. So adding these books this year is bringing a different depth. We usually do these classes either in person or virtual closed. So this video that you're seeing tonight is the first time we're using this format. So welcome to this format of sharing this work. What I'll be doing on this side of it is, instead of us having all of these classes that are 2 or 3 hours long, what I, say for those who don't want it, what I'll be doing is I'll be giving some highlights every Monday, tie it to our morals project, as well as the Sankofa and the solution tank. Okay, so let's talk about Brother Naim Akbar. He says he has been described by Essence Magazine as one of the world's preeminent African American psychologists and pioneer in the development of African-centered approach to a modern psychology. His books and articles exploring the personality development of the African Americans have led to numerous network appearances, including Phil Donahue. See, most of y'all don't even know who that is. Most of y'all don't even know who that. Oh, I'm gonna say another name. I know some of y'all don't know, but Phil Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, Geraldo. For those who know, those were some funny times. And Tony Brown's journal. Currently, it says currently at that time, he was a research assistant in the Department of Psychology in Florida State and University in Tallahassee. That was a long time ago. That is the brother there. I will be posting the book in our classroom, because there will be a classroom where you can go and get some more on this book. So in choosing this book here, obviously, if one of our human rights is freedom of thought, we want to know that we're thinking for ourselves. For the most part, most people are not. Again, I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to make you think like I think, because trust me, you don't want what goes on in here is there. It's there. It gives me a run for my money, and I'm here all the time. So I'm not trying to make you think like me. What I want you to do is I want you to think for yourself. But in order to think for yourself, you have to know the layers and the conditioning and programming that has been done, intentionally, unintentionally, consciously, subconsciously, through things like dogma of religious institutions and, different things, even the education system. It continues to tell our children lies, continues to lie to them, and then let's send them out into the world as if it's 100% truth. And because this is what they're taught, this is how they think. Another one of the favorite books here at MaWu Lisa Temple, no matter the season, is As a Man Thinketh. How you think, knowing how to think even. How do you begin to think and you never have before? You thought you was thinking. Ooh, think on that one. But like I said, there will be in-depth conversations and a little bit more detail in the other section of this work. Again, our Monday nights are just to touch on a part of the topic and leave it here and leave some questions, reflective questions down at the bottom. But I wanted to introduce you to Brother Naim Akbar and his book. And I love this art, I do have an esoteric art show that I do, and we study the art from album covers and museum pieces and books and posters, and we take a look at it, and we look at it from where the artist could have possibly been coming from. And when we are fortunate enough, we get the artist to join us and tell us a little bit about it. And I love when it's done with music. Oh my gosh, because it puts two of my favorite things together, which is music and art. So which are the same, right? But so let's get into here for a second. So the first printing of this book was in 1984. So needless to say, well, excuse me, it was in 1976 and it was reissued in 84. Okay, because that's when I first came in contact with it, was in 84. So it was originally published in 76, reissued with some minor revisions in 84. And it's one of the books that I can say I read over and over again because it's layers. You know, there's an old saying, new level, new devil. As you break one chain, you realize it's connected to another and another and another until you are fortunate enough to strip down bare enough to see at least who you are and how to at least think your way out of the rest of those chains. Because everything is not about brute strength, excuse me, and going in and just pulling and yanking. You know, sometimes it takes a gentle hand to untangle things, and the mind is sensitive. Like it's they say it's strong. It's all the things, but untangling some of the wiring that's taking place. Anybody that ever seen wires all balled up, that's a conspiracy. You know what, I don't even know what that is. There's a word for it. When all the wires go together, they love doing that around me, and they love doing it around my feet because I'm always tripping over a set of wires that's all twisted up somewhere. But if you ever tried to just yank them apart, all you do is make them tighter, right? Mess them up, knot them up, everything, right? But if you gently kind of like just shake it, move it, you know, move it around, you get it to come loose. Same thing with jewelry, necklaces. I got a ball of necklaces I'm trying to undo now, you know, and gently you have to sit there and take your time and undo what seems to have been done in just a matter of time, but it took time for those chains and that bond to happen. So when addressing the untangling of the conditioning and programming of the mind, it's going to take some time, yo, and it's not going to look the same for everybody. And what I'm saying right now may totally resonate with somebody, and for somebody else, they'd be like, what is she even talking about? Hey, like I said, not here to convince you, coerce you, anything else. I'm just here sharing. You know, I have grandchildren, and when talking about morals, when we had that discussion, and for those who weren't able to make it, you really missed an opportunity to be a part of a conversation that is definitely, like I said, in its beginning stages, but was so profound. You know, it's one thing to talk about morals and be talking about ourselves and looking in the mirror. But for those of us who have children or who are just in community, don't you understand other people's moral compass does affect you too? These are the people you live around. These are the children that's in your community. These are the elders that's in your community. These are your neighbors. You know, I'm not for all the conspiracy theories and all that nonsense. But when everybody was taking a vacation in the house, right? When everybody was staycationing, realizing that they ain't know how to sit by themselves with themselves, and they ain't like the people they was living with, and they ain't like their family members either. During that time, I thought to myself, this is really jacked up that they making people take a staycation. But if something good can come out of this, it would be that people got to sit with themselves and realize, hey, I don't even know me. What is going on with me? What do I even want to do with myself? What have I been doing? Because see, you had to sit still. You know, yes, there were people that still had to go out and work. First responders, we love you, thank you. You know, had I not had some illness going on myself, I probably would have been right there in the trenches too. Because I've been in healthcare for 23 years. But what I say is that I thought that at that time people would realize that we are one. If it wasn't for some of my neighbors, I would have been without a lot. I couldn't get out. You know, I had actual physical reasons why I could not get out. So if I didn't have neighbors who knew this, I didn't have to call them. Many times I would hear a knock on my door, and by the time I would get downstairs to the door and open the door, it was groceries and things sitting on my porch. No note, no nothing. Just my neighbors being neighbors. Because you know why? During regular times, you know what I do? I bake cookies and stuff. You know, I be bored, you know. Not bored, but I like doing it. You know, sometimes when I have some downtime, if anybody could actually believe that knows me, you know. But it's because my mother early on broke that chain of, oh, you stay over here. You know, my mother was very neighborly. We had a neighbor who grew grapes on the trellis over their car. Just a regular old gate. My mother grew vegetables in this corner in the back of the dirt back behind the house. Nobody would think to plant something back there. My mother did. And the man next door would give her grapes and tell her stories about planting in Italy, and she would talk to him about planting stuff and the things she could grow. You know, it was a unique opportunity. You know, you didn't have a lot of people who, you know, were friendly enough to talk, you know, back then. I remember all those things. You know, it's really, it's amazing right now when I think about some of the opportunities that have passed before me, some of the things that I've seen, some of the opportunities I've had to see things and how things have changed. And, you know, back then, you know, it was so much harder to connect because we didn't have all this. You know, I remember having pen pals. You know, we would talk about that. We were all joking about that recently about, you know, having an actual pen pal. We was calling ourselves sending money to Africa, and we was trying to save a child and we needed saving ourselves, right? But enough for all that. I wanted to just say that though, because, you know, if we don't realize in community that all of us need to be doing better in ourselves, and that will make the community better, like that's a core lesson. And that's what we really want to touch on in this Unmasking Morality series that we are doing. You know, is, you know, every year, every season we pick a theme, and this theme just got heavy out of nowhere, or so it seemed. But we were always working our way there, because a lot of people talk about building these intentional communities, these places where all of these personalities are going to get together and they're going to get on some land and they're going to grow some things and do some things and teach and all this different stuff. And that sounds, trust me, dream about it all the time. But we don't understand people coming in with different chains. You know, we think we see somebody just because we talking and like we all talking the same thing and it sound, but you'll quickly find out where some people are just, their compass is skewed in line with what it is they say they want and what you want for yourself. See, at the end of the day, it is about being able to look in the mirror. But I say it's unfair to judge yourself, okay, if you've been hindered. See, it's one thing to know and do something, but the ignorance, doing something unknowingly without knowing that there's something else at play. That's where a lot of our people are starting. Back when we would do lectures in person, which, you know what? I don't care when nobody say we need to get back to that. I'm down for it. Whoever's down for it, get at me. Email me, MaWu Lisa Temple at gmail.com. Whoever's down for getting back together and having these in-person lectures. Dr. Umar don't never stray away from an opportunity to go out and talk to the people. I don't always know what he's talking about and all that stuff like that, but you know what? At least the brother out there. He got people attention. I pray that whatever it is that he's offering is something to uplift. But my point is, being in person with people is important because it's energy. It's the energy exchange that takes place. There's an energetic exchange that's taking place right now, but it's not the same as if we were in person. But my point was, back when we used to do things in person and we would get together, we would go on for hours sometimes just because of the simple fact we were taking time to get to know each other, to vet each other. And that's how this theme became so serious so fast, because we talking about living together, and most of us, they going to flock together because of things they done said or teach other on the internet. They may have met once or twice and they going to try to go live some land, work some land together. First of all, the land ain't going to work with you. The land is specific about who it works with and how it works with them, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's part of breaking the chains too. See, when you know how to think and you open and your body is free of all of the lies and the poison, you can connect with nature, and nature tells you not only what it needs, but what you need. Right? But again, living in intentional community is how we got to this conversation about morals, because our conversation was like, well, who do you let in? How do you decide? Just because somebody have enough money, they can come and stay here, be here. What do they believe? And this is bigger than religion. So please don't minimize it to something like that. When I say what do they believe in? Who are they? What do they think about the self? What are their principles and virtues? How do they live their life? Especially for all of y'all people coming together with these children on these pieces of land out in the middle of nowhere. Again, I don't have no problem with it because I've been trying to do it for years. But this is why I haven't. Is because this takes time. One, I had to heal and be able to trust. Trust is a big part of this. That's one of the hardest chains to break, is not trusting each other, not trusting our people. And we've given each other enough reason to. So I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, believe me. But trust was one of my big issues, because I had mistrusted the people so much that I felt like my intuition was off. And now I didn't know how to judge people. It just seemed like, it's easier to not deal with anybody than to keep, finding these people who just didn't have the same set of morals and standards and principles and values that didn't exactly have to match mine, but at least was on the same page, at least was on the same book. We all agree we ain't kicking no puppies. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not as simple as that, but it is. but not if you've been programmed and conditioned for something else. And one thing I can say is that when I think of change, I think of war. This is a psychological war. Slavery, it's a war inside self, a battle. Greatest jihad is the battle of self. And that's what we're talking about in this series. Dr. Naim Akbar offers us some really, this is one of the simplest books, but it's so deep, and you can go through it over and over and over again. It's only 71 pages. I love to tell people, on Unread, we always talk about how big a book is, how thick a book is, and that doesn't indicate, how heavy it is as a topic. What we just say is some things, while they may look like an easy read, they offer a whole lot more if you go through with a critical eye. And in those other smaller videos away from this space, and sometimes longer videos, you'll be able to go into some of the things that we address as we go through the book, because like I said, while it's not that much, there are some very critical points that that need to be dissected and addressed individually if we're talking about establishing a moral compass inside of ourselves, freeing our mind, and truly experiencing the liberation that comes with the freedom of being able to think for ourselves. So he has the introduction from the 1983 edition in here. He has psychological legacy of slavery here as a chapter. Next chapter is liberation from mental slavery. Next chapter is racial religious imagery and psychological confusion, which I'm telling you now, that is a topic that is so hot and so sensitive that when we've tried to have it with some people, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about we as a people and us watching, right? When we've tried to have it, what I've seen has been one of the biggest barriers is that everybody is coming in with the intention of proving they're right versus coming in and just giving what it is they have to offer and letting people do and think for themselves. So if I have a point and I'm bringing it, and you have a point for the same thing and you're bringing it, this is not us debating. This is us. We are talking. We are having a conversation together, back and forth, so that people then can begin to ask questions as well, not only of us but of themselves. Like, well, what is my thought about blah blah blah? Why do I think that way? Where did that begin? When was the first time I was made to think that I had to do, that everything was my fault, or I had to carry the weight? Like, there are things, and even in Retiring Our Family Karma, this is why all these books are tied together. Listen, writing curriculums it's a task, but it is so rewarding for me. I enjoy it because seeing patterns and seeing how things can be of assistance to others, to help people to go into deeper thought. That's what this is about. This is about tapping in. These things that I share with you, the things that's poured out even on me, I'm always a student. I'm always learning. And one thing I can promise you is that if it's something I share today and I come back and say and feel something later, I'll let you know, well, back in 2024, this is how I felt. Here in 2034, this is where I am. Because it's about that constant evolution. I should think something different by then. Foundationally, it can be the same, but I should have deepened as a person and been able to go in and dig even deeper and shape and refine even more. This is a refining process. This is a refining process. And it is ongoing. And it's beautiful, and it's amazing, and it's exciting, and it's scary, and it's make you angry, and it does all the things. But this is important for us to feel our feels, not in the way of being over emotional. No, I'm not talking about that. But energy and motion, this we are putting into this because we want to use that to shape ourselves. Think of yourself as clay. You know, I have this beautiful poem that I will share in the classroom for people to maybe do a project on their own. It was from a retreat I went to see. I go to retreats too. I don't just hold them. I go to retreats too because, you know, healers need healers. This is why we do what we do at MaWu Lisa Temple. And there was a poem that we read that referenced clay. And then they gave us like an hour or so time to ourselves to either journal or whatever. Just, you know, what did that poem bring up for you, you know, in terms of whatever. And I made this clay bowl. Now, I could have sat there and tried to make this bowl perfect, you know, or something like it. Because, you know, I ain't, you know, that's not my particular craft. Y'all know I'm crafty, but clay is not my first thing. Clay is not my first thing. I work with wood and fabric, you know, and canvases. But I'm making this bowl, and I realized I wasn't even trying to make it perfect. I wasn't trying to make it perfectly round. I wasn't trying to smooth it out and get my fingerprints out of it. I was pouring myself into this clay because I wanted to remind myself that I need not be perfect to be. And I can still serve a purpose. That bowl, I have it, and it serves a purpose. And it's not perfect, but it's mine. I made it. I did it. Nobody told me how to. Nobody said it has to be like this. I thought for myself, this is what I wanted to look like, and I made it that way. Thinking for yourself can become that simple. Hey, listen, that don't resonate with me. Let me think on that, you know. Let me use my judgment, my discernment. See, we made judgment a dirty word. We're going to change that here, hopefully. And yes, I did say change it only because I want you to go deeper and think about the word judgment. And you think about what you want in your life. If you want peace in your life and there are things that are chaotic, you choose based upon the chaotic behavior or nature of whatever it is you see. You judge it, you be like, I don't want that in my life. So see, judgment, not a dirty word. You choose, it's a choice. That was a choice and you made a decision. Okay? So, I'm not going to be much longer here. I want to just read something here from the introduction. It says, those who fail to recognize that the past is a shaper of the present and the hand of yesterday continues to write on the slate of today, leave themselves vulnerable by not realizing the impact of influences which do so serve to shape their lives. Basically what I was just saying, yo. While I wasn't trying to make that bowl perfect, I had my fingerprints in there. I wanted to remember that I'm doing this to remind myself that I'm not trying to be perfect in unmasking my morality. I'm just trying to figure out where my morals are, where they stand, how have they changed, you know, what of it is mine, what of it is programming and conditioning, doctrine, indoctrination. You know, I always make the joke, you know, I was a straight A student when I was in school. I was so proud of that, you know. And then later on in life, I realized that that just meant I was easily programmable. I was good at parroting, you know, at being a parrot. But see, when you start to think for yourself, see, what that wasn't what people counted on, you know. People always count on, you know, staying the same, but I saw a pattern and I broke it. And that is what we are doing. We are breaking the chains of psychological slavery. Dr. Naim Akbar, part of our Mental Health Monday UnMasking Morality series of programs. And so again, I will have the lesson plan and the reflective questions and poems over in the classroom. If you are interested in taking part in those programs, those projects, please email me at MaWu Lisa Temple at gmail.com, or you can just hit us in a DM at MaWu Lisa Temple 1 on IG. If you have not gone over to sign up on the YouTube page, it is MaWu Lisa with a Z. So that's MaWu Lisa, Liza, 4610 on YouTube. And subscribe. Take a look at some of the content that is already there. Share it. Comment. I always tell people that there's anything that I address in any of those videos that you'd like to further discuss, or maybe come on and discuss yourself, please let me know. Just give me an email or a DM, and I'll be glad to hear what it is you have in mind, because I love to do collaboration work and hear from my peers in my community. We are here building community at MaWu Lisa Temple. When MaWu Lisa Temple was established, it was established for healers and seekers and lifetime students. Like I said, I am a lifetime student. I'm a lifetime learner, and the best lessons come from studying myself, and that is what I share with all of you, my community. I encourage you to love yourself and really get to know yourself. And the way we do that is we begin to remove the things that we thought were ourselves, that we were taught to believe were ourselves, and sometimes the necessary faces or masks, as we call them, we have to put on to be able to navigate this this world. I'm your sister Rue, MaWu Lisa Temple, beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley. I thank you for joining us on our first night of fall studies for Mental Health Mondays. UnMasking Morality is our theme this fall and winter. We are starting with Dr. Naim Akbar, Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery. One of the best books I've ever read and continue to read every year. I am so grateful to be able to be bringing that to you this particular fall and winter study season. So join us again for Mental Health Monday, UnMasking Morality next week, and I will talk to you all soon. Peace.